Welcome to the Creemore Winos. Real conversations over a glass of wine.
Hi!
Welcome. Our very first episode of the Creemore Winos Podcast.
Very first episode.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe we're here.
I know. It's happening.
We've done this. We're doing this.
We're doing this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Amazing. Oh my gosh.
Cheers.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, shall
good.
we start with intros?
Yes.
Yeah, Jen Hunt.
Tammy, Millsap.
Jessica Ridding.
And we are the Creemore Winos.
We're the Creemore Winos.
Yeah. And how did we become the Creemore Winos?
Well, let's
dive in. Let's
let's
get into
dive
the
in.
origin
Let's do
story.
it. Okay.
Tammy's brainchild.
brainchild. So do we want to talk about the Creemore Winos, how it became, or do we want to
good
talk
point.
about how the podcast became?
Okay, let's maybe start with the Creemore Winos.
Yes.
Agreed.
Because I feel like there are some honorary members who won't be part of the podcast,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
are here in spirit.
Yeah,
And really how it all came about is just based on friendship.
100%. We were at, that's exactly it. The friendship. We were at a friend's birthday. And it was a surprise party, and we were chatting just outside. And just how much we love to spend time with each other, and just how really just having conversations like this that we're having. And Tammy and I were, it was me and you, wasn't it?
And Jess, were you there? You were there too.
Yeah.
We were all
Yeah.
standing together. It was at Krista's birthday party.
And I think we started just playing around with calling ourselves something.
We needed a name for our group because it was very important to get a date in our calendars for a get-together.
Yes.
And make sure that it was a
Yes.
There
regularly
we go.
planned get-together.
Exactly.
So we were like, we need the group. What's the group? Who are in the group? And that's where the Winos came from.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
live within Creemore. Well, you were moving.
Yes.
You were building a house.
Yes.
You were moving in Creemore. You grew up in Creemore.
Yeah, just
you were
down the
coming
hill.
back.
Yeah.
And I lived in Creemore. You lived in Creemore. Krista
Yeah.
lived in Creemore.
Creemore. Yeah.
And we all decided we would get together. Yeah. Like once a month, right? That was our thing.
That
once
was
a
our
month,
routine,
get together.
at
And,
least.
and
Yeah.
talk about all things
All things.
All things.
related to
Yeah.
us and women and what we go through, and we just decided, yeah, let's do it.
We wanted to share this with other people
Yes.
because we learn a lot from each other. And I think that was really the beginning of the idea for the podcast is how much women share, whether it's over a cup of coffee or in our case, a glass of wine, and making sure that we made time in our schedule for each other, but also selfishly for ourselves so that you can talk about the things that may be keeping you up at night that you feel like you need your friends to help you with.
100%. And I think that's where, because we have such deep rooted conversations a lot of the time, one night when we were all out celebrating Jess and just celebrating our friendship with her, just because really, and uplifting her, we had an epiphany. I think Tammy shared with us.
A dream.
A
Came
dream.
to her
Yes.
in a dream.
It came to me in a dream, and I was, I woke up and I told my husband, Chris, and I said, I have this amazing idea that I feel us girls, us Creemore Winos, should have our own podcast. We should share everything that we talk about at our dinners or get-togethers, because I feel like it's going to help so many people, because it's everyday women, what we're going through, kids, businesses, relationships, health,
skin.
yes, all the above. And
all
we
of the
we
above.
will talk for hours, and I thought we need to share this. We
is an
laugh, we
understatement.
cry, I'm like,
We let
need
our hair
this.
down.
We let our hair down.
Sometimes on fire. That's a story for another day.
For sure.
It's true.
It's exactly true.
That's
Yeah.
that's actually what happened that day.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So then I shared it with you girls, and automatically were like, yeah, we're in.
Yeah.
Like, we
it
need to
is,
do this.
Not
Yeah.
going to lie, a little nerve-wracking. I don't
Yeah.
think I
Yes.
have ever put myself out there as much as we will be on this show, but I also think that even if nobody listens, I'm so excited to do it because I love our time together. And regardless of what comes out of it, I think that we're going to learn from it and grow and just enjoy it no matter what.
Me too.
100%. And I think that is perfectly said, because I don't think any of us are looking for anything to come out of this. It's more about if we can touch one person from these conversations, then that's amazing. But for most importantly, it's for ourselves, so we can continue to grow within our friendship, but also as individuals and with with each other, our families, our friends, and everything along those lines. And I think that's, and again, the fact that we do this on a regular basis anyways, sharing it with the world is also very cool and inspiring for all of us. Yeah.
I'm also excited to think about topics that I can research and share with you, because we do that anyway, but now we have a bit more structure to our get-togethers, which, call me a nerd, I'm looking forward to doing some research. So I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
I love to learn.
So I think we should also talk about our friendships, but before we do that, I think one topic we wanted to cover on the name of the podcast is that we are in no way condoning drinking.
No.
In fact, Jen and I both have partners who are non-drinkers and have been for several years now.
That's right.
And I don't even think that we are really big drinkers.
No.
It's more just the concept of getting together with your girlfriends.
Yes.
And that's kind of how the name came about. And yeah, we just wanted to cover that. But that being said, we do enjoy a glass of wine. We will be sharing the different types of wine that we are tasting. This one tonight,
show this one.
out.
It's actually
Tell us.
quite good, isn't
really
it?
like
It is quite nice, yes.
It's quite nice.
So
Well, it
you
is
do
a-
the honors.
Yes. Well, I don't really know a lot about it, but it is from Niagara. And it's one that I've never tried before,
I
actually.
haven't tried it either, and I'm usually...
It's a Chardonnay, right?
Yeah.
It's a
I'm
Chardonnay.
usually not a Chardonnay fan.
2023
I would never pick this.
Chardonnay from Niagara. Cave Spring is what it's called. And it's actually very, very good.
It is extremely good, because
It's so good.
so in our early days of drinking wine, it used to be on the sweeter side. Now, as our tastes have evolved,
Yes.
Jess is like, no, I still love a sweet wine.
No, I actually do not at all. But it does remind me of, what was that wine that we would drink in university that was like basically tasted like pop. It was
Yes,
pink, and
so-
I can't remember what it was called.
So
but
sweet.
I don't think I could ever drink that again.
No.
But
So this
very
is not
nice.
as
Yeah,
sweet.
we're-
So I wonder if our taste buds are evolving.
Yeah,
I
this
think,
is- we're more
yes, as we're getting
sophisticated
older,
now.
we're more sophisticated. We like more of a drier, not a
Yes.
sweeter.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I have to say, one of our close friends still drinks that wine. And I'm like,
Oh no. Well, there's still
we'll call them out later. Oh my goodness. But yes, it is a delicious wine.
It's
Good choice,
very,
Tammy.
it's very
It is
good.
a very good
I
choice.
thought we could try
Yeah.
all things Ontario, Canada.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
love
that's
it.
a
I
great
think
way to
it's
kick things off.
Just
yeah.
try different ones. I have to say, I'm not much for white, but I will
Right.
drink white. I like just trying different ones.
Yeah, you guys really like the red, but I can't do red anymore.
Yes.
Which we've talked about, and I think we'll have a whole pod to get
That will
dedicated
be
to that, but about aging and drinking and
Yes.
not going as well together. So.
Why?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red wine does, change the way
Yeah.
our sleeping is. So, but yes, that will be a later
A later topic.
conversation
Yeah.
for us.
Should we talk about how our families and friends have reacted to the podcast?
Yes. Good
Yeah.
idea.
What,
Good idea.
what are our networks saying? Do you want to kick it off, Jen?
Yeah. For the most part, immediate reactions are, wow, you should have done this years ago. So super supportive in
Love
terms of who I'm also doing it with, and just see the automatic chemistry already there, which makes sense since we've been friends for years. So huge support, has been super supportive. I think one of the main questions was, how are you finding time to add this to all of the other things that we're responsible for?
Yes.
And that's an easy answer, because we already, and as you alluded to earlier, we already spend so much time together on a weekly, daily basis. So for us, it's not work. This is who we are. This is who I want to be with. This is who I prioritize in my life. And so it's not an added task on my list. It's just part of what I do on a regular basis anyways. The difference is we're broadcasting it to the world.
Yeah.
So
A little bit of a different dynamic, but also another reason to get together, which I'm very excited about. It's nice having the reason, because life can get busy. You can get caught up in the day-to-day.
Yes.
Yes. And then what about both of you?
For me, it was, automatic.
Because Chris was the first person that you told, Tammy's husband.
And he loved the idea. He was so supportive. My kids were very excited because they're all about, YouTube and all things, that sort of thing. They get the social media. Like my mom, different like friends. Like I feel like for me too, I'm a very private person, as you girls know. So this is a huge step for me to put out there to the whole world, our conversations. But that was one of the things that I wanted to do, because I do feel like our conversations do help. And I do feel like I love you girls so much. I feel comfortable with you. I trust you. And so I think for me, that was more, why not do it? Let's just do it. I know that we'll kind of, protect each other and be there for each other. And I was just excited to do it, put myself out there. But you're right. It's like, where do we find the time? But I think it's because we want it. We want to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it has been a project. It's been almost a year in the making.
Yes.
This has taken some time to ensure that we're doing this right.
And a lot of thought.
And
a
lot of thought. 100% a ton of thought. And they do say that when you have that uncomfortable feeling in your gut, that you're growing. And I think that's also a big part, because we're all feeling that.
Yes.
And I think we're growing as our own selves by doing this. And I think that's really brave of you, Tammy. And
I agree.
It's for you girls
I'm
too.
inspired by that.
It's not easy putting yourself out there, but I feel like I couldn't do it with, two best girls. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this. And you're right. We want to be together.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just fun.
I know.
I feel like it's fun.
Yes.
It's not,
we're going to have some fun.
So much positivity in our group, I think. And whether it's our dinners out or even at the ski hill, like I feel like I have so many things to ask you about constantly, or Jen, or to bounce ideas off of you. And I always feel so good coming out of the conversations. So I think that this makes a lot of sense. And I would say the same thing. My family has been super supportive. Spencer, who absolutely adores you, and Chris and Jen and Kurt as well, thought it was amazing. He's also a big listener of podcasts of so many different topics. And I think he has seen that world grow so much, and how varied it can be, and that there's so many niches in podcasts, and thinks that there's so much opportunity for us, that we can make a world of difference. But I did want to tell a funny story, which I had told Jen about, but I hadn't told Tammy.
Okay, I want to hear it. I'm ready.
My dad, who you both know, who is...
We love your dad.
We're in business together, so we work together every day. I spend probably more time with him than even my own family sometimes, because we're constantly doing work together. And I kept kind of sneaking off for things. And I was always in a rush, so I wasn't deliberately not telling him what was happening. But I was also kind of like, I have to run. I'm doing this thing with Tammy and Jen. And then I did tell him we're doing a podcast. And he was like, okay. I don't think he gets it as much. Social media, he's of that generation. It kind of goes over his head a little bit. But he's like, okay, that's great. And then one day, it was like, yes, so we've got our branding. We're launching it. And he asked me the name of the podcast, and I told him it was called the Creemore Winos. And his immediate reaction, did not even hesitate. Was like, I hate the name.
Oh, no.
And you know what? It's a humbling moment, because everyone around us has been so positive about absolutely everything, that it was good to hear someone else's perspective. And I explained to him, it's not about promoting drinking. It's not about drinking culture. It's more the concept of getting together and women, and what that means to us, because we do have busy lives. You get so bogged down in the day-to-day with kids and jobs and things that we bear on our shoulders. And so he gets it a little bit more now. He's not totally sold, but hopefully when he sees this episode, he will be converted.
Brian,
but there you go.
We're watching you.
We're going to convert you.
But But all that being said, my dad is a big supporter of most of the things that I do, including, you know, we started a lavender farm on his property, and he's been our #1 supporter. So I have no doubt he will join us on the good side. But
that is a funny story.
Yeah.
That is a very funny story,
because
you're right. Yeah. Everybody has liked.
Yeah.
You know, they'd be like, oh, you know, so
great.
It is good to get some feedback.
Yeah. And something we were kind of worried about too when it came to the naming of it.
Of
so it's
course.
not totally out of left field, but
No.
yeah, still kind of funny.
That is really funny.
Yeah.
We love Brian so much.
We do.
And
now
we
have
do
a mission
value
in
his
life.
opinion.
We will win him over.
That's amazing.
I mean, you know what? He's probably just not liking it because he's not here drinking the wine with us. Because that would maybe change his mind.
Yeah. He actually, maybe
Yeah.
he can be an honorary member one day, and definitely a guest.
And
I think the wisdom that your dad has would obviously benefit our listeners. As well, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Our listeners. I say that out loud as if like we've got listeners. We're manifesting. It's happening.
Once we put it out to the world,
we're gonna change lives. Because we are.
Yeah, we should have your dad on. That would be a great idea.
Yeah, he is.
He's so funny.
He's funny, and he does know
And
so much stuff.
so
like,
much.
His
So
memory astounds me. Like he just can remember so much.
He would give us so much good advice and just intel. Yeah, all his experience. And oh my goodness, yes. Yeah. I would love that.
I do want to just talk a little bit more about the origin of why we believe that this also, what makes us unique from every other podcast out there. Because I think that is important for everyone to hear that we are originally from Creemore. We grew up here as young children. And I think a big part of that and what makes us different from every other podcast out there is that there's no, at least I haven't found a podcast where I can find inspiring women from a very small community, and feeling inspired by those folks to feel like there's other people out there like myself that I can relate to, that I can look up to, that you're from a small community and that you've built something really great. And I think the biggest podcast we've seen is from Guelph, and she's been exceptional. And I think where are those that are from a community such as Creemore and such a small town, I think is an interesting point.
Yeah, I love that. And also our friend, like the longevity of our friendship too.
Yes.
Like I think that is a very rare thing, that people have friendships that have lasted their whole lives, because many people move or end up in different communities, or work takes them to a different place. Whereas, you know, basically I have known both of you my whole life. I've known Chris my whole life. Jen and I went to camp together. And
that is another podcast. The camp stories.
Totally.
All the camp stories.
But
yes.
I think it's pretty special that we've known each other for as long as we have. We ended up in Creemore. I mean, for many people don't realize how special the town is, but we have at our fingertips a beautiful, scenic village that has everything that we need, but we're also close to bigger towns, close to Toronto. I mean, I think also COVID really changed the world too, like because Jen, that enabled you to be able to live in Creemore.
Right. And it's definitely created opportunity without a doubt for people who have potential to be great and who want to be great, who have the craving to be great, but be able to live the lifestyle that you always hoped and dreamed for, and the balance of that. It's like a dream come true for sure. And I think Creemore is on the map in a big way, to your point, Jess. Like,
considering the size of it, it's pretty
But that's
amazing.
exactly it, is that I think Creemore in itself is special and unique and beautiful, which has been a springboard for us as well.
Yeah.
Because people from all over come to Creemore.
They do. Yeah. To visit, to live. I mean, it's grown so much, right?
Changed and not changed in a lot of ways, too.
And a lot of people have moved here full time, but then a lot of people also have, you know, like their weekend homes. Cottage country ski chalets, because we're close to many ski hills. So, it's grown, but it hasn't grown.
Yeah.
Right? It's still like this cute little village.
And I think that's what
So
makes it so
cute.
special.
It looks like a Hallmark movie right now.
And
it does.
It's decorated for Christmas, and it looks like a Hallmark movie.
It really
if anyone
does.
can come to Creemore to visit it, especially right now in, around Christmas time in the winter, it looks like a Hallmark movie.
It really does.
It's
It
very
feels
cute,
like a
very
Hallmark
cute.
movie. We're all very happy to live here.
Yeah.
Very happy.
And I think that's why Creemore, we're proud to be from Creemore, and hence it's part of our podcast, Creemore Winos. And you're bringing the beautiful town and the heritage of where we grew up, combined with wine in terms of the symbolism of wine, bringing us together and having these really thoughtful, deep conversations about real life. And then seeing us all be successful and cheer behind all of you is such a special moment.
Such a special moment. Love
That's
that.
very special.
And hopefully, again, what brings us uniquely positioned in the world of podcasts too.
Yeah.
That we can offer something different and unique.
You're right. Being from a small town and knowing each other for a very long time is extremely rare. Just in general, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't see that very often.
No.
And just be so supportive of each
still
other
friends,
and just still
too.
friends. And I don't know.
Totally.
It's just,
And like everyone has gone their own ways and come back.
Yes.
And it's like everyone, majority of people that we grew up with all left to experience different things, but then come back to Creemore.
Yes.
That's
You and I both did.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you both had totally different lives
Yeah,
in
completely.
Toronto. Yeah.
completely different lives, and to come back to Creemore and then still have that.
I can only speak from my own experience, but I think that made me appreciate Creemore more, was leaving it and having this other life and experiencing the world, and then realizing actually my childhood was amazing and I want that for my kids, and that's why I'm moving back.
Yes.
100%. Like if it's like times 100, absolutely. Raising kids in Toronto, I can't relate because we grew up here. And just it felt familiar and it felt right for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You knew that was it. That was where you wanted to be. I love that.
And you left for school and came
I
back.
left for school
You
and
did
came
go
back.
branch out and then come back.
Yeah. And I am older.
That's
a
right.
lot older.
Yeah. Oh.
Well,
It's not a grandpa.
How old am I, Jen? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Before we recorded a podcast, I did refer to Tammy as grandpa, and then now I'm like, oh,
I am
my
a
God.
little bit. What am I? 3 years older. I'm 3
3 years older, and I said 4, but
Yeah, grandpa age,
Who's
you know.
counting? Well, yeah, and I guess it's important.
Yes.
Talking a little bit about that.
Yes.
How we all became friends. Camp was
how we first met.
Yeah. And I remember distinctly we fell in love immediately at camp, and then I didn't go to public school with you, and so we weren't together. And then when we met again in high school, it was all these flooded of memories that came over us, and we're like, we went to camp together, and it was instant from that point forward. Yeah. And then calling Tammy a grandpa. What was it, Tammy? We would see each other.
We would see each other, and really anywhere, and we would run towards each other with open arms and just like embrace, like embrace, and like jump up and down, and like we just like loved each other so much, and it was just like we would see each other from afar, and there was like no one else there. We would just run towards each other, and jump up and down. It was like a movie, really. I'm not even exaggerating. It was like a movie.
It was like slow motion of me coming at you.
Yes. And we hugged each other, like jumped up and down. So excited to see each other. And even though I was older, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It was just we were
But
just
that also
embrace
describes
each other.
both of your personalities, though, because you are both very positive, kind, warm, affectionate people. So you were drawn to each other.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was society, because again in high school where the grandpa comment came from was, I guess, in high school, grade 9. Can you really be friends with a grade 12? Maybe we'll save that for another podcast time frame, but. We always loved each other, but it just never came to a fruition of
like
hanging out. Yes.
But it was like
like
at
a
every
social-
single social event, Tammy and I were together. and I remember that like yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were like together. We didn't leave each other's side. We would just be together. It's like
no one else had it. And then I would sometimes, and I'd be like, oh, Chris is here too. Hi, Chris. Yeah, I see you. But, you know, I'm all about your girlfriend at the time.
You're right. It was like a later, maybe. Even though we knew each other,
right.
we would see each other.
Yeah,
we would hang out each other.
That's right. But I felt like I knew you because Chris is basically my neighbor growing up. So I always knew him, actually. So when I played hockey when I was younger. And when I first started playing, my dad had been at the curling rink. And he came up to me and he said, I have a present for you. It is a hockey stick from Chris Millsap, and he is an excellent hockey player, and he gave this to me to give to you, and you are going to be a good hockey player. And that always was something that I remembered because I thought it was so kind and also funny because my dad was like asking Chris for a hockey stick, but also it was just like one of those things where I kind of like looked up to him as this amazing hockey player, and he was so kind. So I felt like I knew you before I really knew you.
Does he know that story, by the way?
I think I have told him.
Oh
yeah, but I was like,
goodness,
do you remember
I
this?
love that story.
I didn't know this story,
I've
and
never
I'm
heard
welling
that story.
up right now. That is so
Yeah,
sweet.
that is so sweet.
And so he was always this like older guy that I looked up to. And so I felt like once, and I don't remember the first time I met you, but it was kind of one of like, I felt like you fit so naturally into our lives because I knew Chris. And then from skiing, our kids ski together, and we've spent a lot of time. And I felt like you were the missing part in my life.
Aww,
no,
honestly.
it's true. Yes, I mean that because
I love that.
Someone who's so easy to be friends with, and that you feel like you connect with so quickly.
Yeah.
It feels like it's meant to be.
Snaps to that. Like,
Oh my goodness.
snaps to that.
Cry.
But it's true.
Cheers.
I'm
The
gonna
first
cry.
episode,
Yes.
guys, this is a good
Yes.
sign.
That is so sweet. Well, I do remember you. I won't get into it, but I remember you were with this guy. I'm just going to say this. And I was like, why? Why? She is like the sweetest, kindest person. I always knew you were very sweet and kind.
Aw.
And I was just, I don't know. I was felt like a big sister. Like I should watch out
And
for
We
her.
had the age gap as well. 'Cause
Yes.
I was a year younger than Jen, so
It was
another reason why
I
we
was
did cross
really a
paths.
grandpa to you. Yes. Yes. I was like
I won't
that
go
much
so
older.
far as to say great
That much older.
That's too much. But it's true.
But I
You
just
really
looked
don't-
out for you. Yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, you were just way too good. But anyway, you moved on, and it's all good now.
Yeah, and
It's
look
all
where
good.
we are. Everything was
It's
meant to
all-
happen the way that it did.
It's all good.
Because maybe you wouldn't have noticed me otherwise. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Things
Yeah.
all happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's funny because I feel like even after high school, we would have these moments of not being friends for a while, or not being friends, but not seeing each other,
Right.
not
Yeah.
hanging
Yeah.
out regularly.
Exactly. Yes.
And then coming together, and we worked in similar industries, and it was
Yes.
just so easy to like bounce stuff off one another. Like I remember going for a hike with you and our friend Becky, and she thought we were so annoying because we kept talking about work.
All about work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true
Yeah.
because Jess was my one friend who was in the industry that I was in. So we related on that level.
Yeah.
And so to your point, yeah, you're right. After high school, we would see each other, but not as frequently. And when we did get together, I think our jobs, to be honest, the marketing team brought us back together
I
to
agree.
be like,
1,000%.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it did because
Yeah.
we could relate to one another, and it felt like when we were in Creemore, nobody else really understood other
Right.
than you,
Right.
or my sister, because
Yeah.
she was also in the same industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a full circle.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I do agree. It's something that you said, Jess, around like Tammy was that missing piece for you. Like, I think there's magic in the Creemore Winos with Krista as well, in terms of each of us have very unique and different personalities, but all thread through the same morals, the same love, the same respect, the same values. And we all offer that uniqueness to each other that we can all learn and grow from. And I think there's something special about the chemistry that the four of us have. And I think that's another reason why we wanted to share that with the world too.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree too.
And we're going to have so many guests on the podcast with all these other amazing people that we surround ourselves around.
Yes.
To share with the world, because I think we also are pretty lucky with the people that our friends and the family that we have in our lives.
Yes.
Your sister included, Jess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very lucky.
We
Very
have
lucky.
a great lineup coming.
Great lineup.
Very
Stay
lucky.
tuned.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, and I agree with you with that. Like, it was maybe like later on, and then it was all the missing pieces. I mean, definitely for me, I think that's one of our episodes we're going to talk about is friendship journey.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you don't always have the same friends all the way through.
Yeah.
And sometimes then you find those ones that are those missing pieces. And that's obviously, yes, for me, that's two big pieces for me, because I did go through such a friendship journey. But we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, I'm
It's
so
hard.
happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with, because it's almost like I wanted this for so long.
Aw.
I really wanted this for so long. I prayed for this, but anyway,
You dreamt
I
about
really,
it.
I did. Yeah. So I'm just so happy that it all, everything worked out, and here we are,
Came
and
together.
it all came together, and
Yeah.
we get to see each other.
Well,
all
we
the
have
time.
lots more
All
to
the time.
discuss. I think we can leave it on that note for this week's episode.
Agreed.
And we will be sharing more soon.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yay.
Yay.
So excited. Bye, everybody.
Bye.